HorsePlayerNow.com team of Joe Christopher and Brian W. Spencer taking a look at a couple of two-year-old stakes for Saturday, August the 4th. And Spence, I just got done doing the morning line for both of these races, and I tell you what, I've never seen two more wide-open two-year-old races, possibly in my time in horse racing. I mean, favoritism can go so many ways. These races are extremely wide open. We're going to talk about the Lisa M first, but these races are precursors to a couple of important stakes for two-year-olds down the road at Arlington.
Yeah, and this race named after 2006 Arlington, Washington Lassie winner Lisa M. Those are sort of the end goal for a lot of these locally based two-year-olds. I think when you get these two-year-old races where a lot of these horses are coming out of maiden breakers, but they've only run once or twice, you expect some mayhem, just maybe not quite this much mayhem on paper as these two races. I don't even know where to start.
September 24th and September 25th are the Lassie and the Futurity. That's the weekend you'll be seeing possibly a few of these back at Arlington for more lucrative purse money. Let's start with the Lisa M. I made Gold Edge the favorite, the stronger half of the Lon Wiggins train entry, basically because she got a 79 buyer speed figure in a visually impressive maiden breaker, Spence. That was a $50,000 maiden claimer. Now she's going into stakes competition.
And there's something to be said about that. She did look good. She did run quickly. She did sit just off the pace and then punched home with some authority, which can come in handy in these races where a lot of these winners are front-end gate-to-wire types when they scored. The question, like you said, is the big class jump, because she did avoid some of those tougher Churchill Downs special weight two-year-olds, but just based on the way she came home and the time she did it, and she looks like the one to beat, but I don't think there's any shortage of horses lining up to challenge her here that could also, knock her off too.
We have a very intriguing individual on the far outside, All Her Class by Street Cry out of the Breeders' Cup winner, Dreaming of Anna, winning the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies at age 2, owned by Frank C. Calabrese, trained by Wayne Catalano. What is up with that? This horse was 9-5 in the debut, ran a distance 6. Obviously, they thought she was going to run big at Churchill first time out, trained by Eddie Keneally. Now trained by the Catman. She's been working forwardly at Arlington, but what do you make of this horse?
I think it's almost impossible to know what to make of her. At 9-5 in that debut race, somebody expected something, but maybe that was just strictly a pedigree play. I mean, Keneally's a capable trainer. Now you move into the red-hot Wayne Catalano barn. Maybe even just for this one race, this one day, a little bit of those Catalano Calabrese glory days at Arlington. If this horse can bounce back, she sure has the pedigree to do better this time.
Yeah, either way, it's an intriguing story. Catalano and Calabrese back together again. Other horses to look at. We've got the Illinois-bred Bridget Bordeaux by Medaglia de Oro out of the runaway groom mare Meadow Bride. Extremely well bred. She won at first asking at odds of 9-2, and she looked good doing it. I may make her my top pick. I'm not quite so sure at this point. Then you've got Larissa's Love, who went wire to wire, going 2 turns on grass at Ellis Park for a top juvenile trainer in Kenny McPeak. And you get Fabio Arguello Jr. coming in from Kentucky for the mount. Several others in here that look like they have a chance on paper too.
Yeah, including some temper gets Jimmy Graham aboard off a pair of solid Presque Isle runs, like that one is proven on synthetics. Some ability to sit just off the pace. You mentioned Bridget Bordeaux, who I really liked the way that she finished up that race, and she has that bit of tactical speed that should put her in the right kind of spot, but she does know how to punch home. And this is a very tricky 7-furlong trip, a trip that's difficult for older, more seasoned horses. So you throw some inexperienced two-year-olds going one of the most difficult trips in the game, and I think that rating gear is going to come in handy for a couple of these. And Bridget Bordeaux and some temper, I think, are the two that may be able to take advantage of sitting just off the pace.
Well, if you thought the Lisa M was a puzzler, the Meadowlake doesn't get any easier. We've got 9 boys going to the post, and here I made almost every horse in the race 5-1. The lukewarm morning line favorite at 7-2, a winner at first asking for 2-year-old King Jimmy DeVito, a Muppet Man. This horse showed speed, never looked back, extended the margin to the wire to win by almost 4, and it was visually impressive too.
And I liked the way that he ran that day. And you mentioned Jimmy DeVito, very capable. You give him a 2-year-old with any kind of talent at all, and he'll turn the horse into something. Does look like the one to beat. Perhaps the most interesting other contender is Triple Cross, who is also cross-entered in the Mountaineer Juvenile Championship on Saturday at Mountaineer. That spot came up a lot tougher, including Bashford Manor winner Circle Unbroken. So wouldn't be any surprise to see Triple Cross go here. Exits a good. Well, he crossed the wire third, was put up into second in that Woodbine Stakes race. And though the figure was low, the race wasn't really visually impressive. There's something to be said for a horse who is proven in stakes company, hit the board, and there were a couple of decent horses on paper lined up in that race. So definitely not impossible. Looks like the main competition for a horse like Muppet Man.
Then you've got the Illinois bred for Catalano Emil, who won at first gasking, defeating Ultimate Trago, who came back to win in his very next start. You've got the Tom Amos trained Blue Gale, who won at first gasking at Indiana Downs. Something that Amos does often is win races in Indiana, and I would not take this horse for granted or poke any holes based on the victory coming there, because the horse won by 6.5 lengths, and Jimmy Graham does see fit to take the mount. Storm and Monarco, an impressive winner at first asking at Arlington, held his own in the Prairie Gold Juvenile, finishing fourth, beaten only a length in that race. And then you've got an impressive turf winner first out, Brown Almighty, who I thought was visually impressive, overcame some traffic issues and still got the job done that day, cuts back to 7 furlongs, tactically should be in a perfect position turning for home.
And those three that you just mentioned are the three that I think are the potential horses outside of the two we already talked about. Blue Gale was visually impressive. You never really know what a horse like that beats when when they're going away by open lengths at Indiana Downs. But it is the Amos barn, right to improve second time out, and the horse finished that race strongly. Storm and Monarco, you mentioned that Prairie Meadows try had a little bit of trouble at a couple spots in that race, and I think that the fact that he was only beaten a length says that he's got some talent to play with a group like this. And Brown Almighty, the other one, very difficult to win first out the way he did, going 2 turns on the turf, split horses in the stretch. I like the way he came back. My only question there was Cisco does not retain the mount. Cisco takes this race off.
I don't think he's got a mount in the other race either, and he is named on the card, so I found that to be
Hmm.
somewhat fascinating that the leading jockey, or battling for the leading ridership, I should say, with Jimmy Graham at this point, they're neck and neck, didn't have a mount in either of the 2-year-old stakes. You can follow us at Twitter at Arlington Racing, like us on Facebook at Arlington Park. For Brian W. Spencer, I'm Joe Christopher. Enjoy the 2-year-old action. We're going to be doing some babysitting this Saturday at Arlington Park.